Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Digimon Adventure 2020, episode 28. So, yeah, last time we left off, well, things just keep hitting the fan here, and nothing's just slowing down. So, after arriving on the new continent, they're instantly attacked multiple times, including by Dark Nightmon, who seems to be an issue, especially since at this point everyone is pretty much exhausted. However, Takeru and Patamon have not yet fought in these battles, so Patamon digivolves to Angemon. And I still don't think Angemon's going to necessarily be enough, but he might be able to help. I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes. I'm very excited to see this because Angemon, we've seen Angemon already, but it's like we haven't really truly seen Angemon in battle. We've only seen Angemon kind of act as support. So it's going to be cool to see Angemon actually fight here for the first time in this iteration of the series. And yeah, it's like we still haven't gotten a full grasp of what this new arc is going to be about. Hell, this might just be like this kind of like mini arc between arcs for all we know. Just kind of like finishing off Dark Nightmon and just kind of bridging into the new continent. That might be what they're going for here. Just a short little like mini arc between. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm very interested to find out. This reboot has been fantastic. It's just been balls to the wall great in pretty much every manner. It's doing some great new things that help it stand apart from the original, in my eyes, in a good way. And I really just like what they've done with the characters, with the enemies, with how they're presenting everything. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what more changes, what more is brought back, and just how they bring everything in. And when will we get Gatomon, and how will we get Gatomon? Will that be different? Because Hikari's already traveling with them now. So it's like that's got to be coming up in the future, right? I mean, she'll probably travel with them for a bit without a Digimon partner, but Gatomon's got to come up at some point in the near future, right? Also, I know at this point, I kind of feel like the subtitles are probably going to refer to Gatomon as Tailmon, which is the Japanese name, but I'm still going to refer to her as Gatomon. I will always refer to her as Gatomon, just because it's, one, what I grew up with, and two, it sounds so much better. Tailmon sounds dumb. I mean, yeah, I get it. I get why it would be called that, but it sounds dumb. Gatomon sounds so much better. Anyway, we're just going to get into this and hope for the best with this episode. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, yeah, that was an interesting episode, an interesting follow-up. So, Angemon starts to fight Dark Nightmon, but not really enough. Dark Nightmon is still just too powerful. Dark Nightmon attacks back and tries to go after Hikari specifically, but then everyone ends up getting separated. So everyone's in their own separate areas, dealing with their own shit. And we focus, after getting to see everyone, we focus mostly in this episode, at least, on Tai. Tai and Hikari are having to deal with Volkdoramon, who is just this like magma powered dinosaur. And Agumon ends up having to digivolve all the way to Metal Greymon to be able to do anything to it. But because it uses these fire shields, it's still not enough, even with all of Metal Greymon's power up. So Taichi and Hikari need to end up combining their power and everything, their belief and all, into Metal Greymon to give them enough power to end up defeating Volkdoramon. But afterwards, Skull Knightmon, because Dark Knightmon had de-digivolved when everything was separated, and he was apparently not behind that, I guess. He kidnaps Hikari, and she chooses to go with him instead of trying to get away, which means that there's a reason behind it. So this was a really interesting episode. The early action between Angemon and Dark Knightmon was really good, really interesting. Basically what I wanted to see from that. But then once everyone got separated, it's like it's going to lead into some interesting stuff for sure. Even outside of just the stuff with Taichi and Hikari. We get to see everything they're doing, and it's like I don't remember what each of them were doing, but the ones that stood out most to me were Mimi and Joe. Mimi and Palmon are climbing this giant stone pillar being chased by Golemon. Golemon isn't really making much headway in climbing up as well, keeps slipping, but they're still worried, so they still want to keep going. Until Mimi gets distracted by a ruby gemstone. She finds a ruby in a crack on top of the rock pillar, and she and Palmon just get really distracted really quickly. Joe, meanwhile, is the only one who hasn't found adversity in wherever he was teleported to. Everyone else is fighting other Digimon or trying to run away from them. Joe, meanwhile, it was teleported to some hot springs. And at first, everything seems fine. He's just enjoying the hot springs, but then Nanimon appears. Nanimon was always one of my least favorite Digimon. I hate his design. It's so uncomfortable. And he is just uncomfortable. So it's like I don't know if it's going to be as bad here, but it's like I don't know. Plus I don't know how I'm going to feel about it seeing it as an adult now, because I've never seen Nanimon as an adult. It's just all memories from when I was younger. So that's going to be interesting. Plus, Nanimon wasn't doing anything or attacking him or anything. He was just staring at him, judgingly. And it's like, okay, so where is this going to go? I am very interested to see what happens, what comes up with all of these different scenarios that they've put themselves in. And my theory, like before, had been that Dark Knightmon might be working with Myotismon now, and if that is the case, if my theory is right, then that would explain why he's after Hikari. Because why is he suddenly after Hikari? Like prior to this, he was after Takeru. But now it's like he doesn't even care. He blatantly said to Angemon, "I'm not here for you." Like and he was like trying to go after Hikari. It's like, what? You don't want the holy Digimon anymore? So that's kind of implying that either he does have another master, that maybe Devimon had a master who was higher up in the first place, or just something else is going on here. Definitely going to be interesting to see. Definitely going to be interested to find out where this goes. But we also got a second glimpse at War Greymon. We had seen a glimpse at it before. Metal Greymon briefly evolved into War Greymon before to clinch a win, and did the same here. But we don't get War Greymon's name, and we don't even get to fully see it. We could tell it's War Greymon, but that's about it. So it's like, when are they actually going to introduce that? I wonder. I'm hoping that them being separated here isn't just an excuse to like just, oh, now we're going to introduce all the mega levels. It's like, do something different with the megas at least. It's the mega levels. Like, I can understand doing that with the champions and the ultimates like they did, but the megas I feel should be a little more special. So hopefully it's not just the same thing again with that. But if it is, as long as it's still done well, then I can at least accept it. Because it was done well with the champions and the ultimates. So as long as it's still done well, as long as everything's still entertaining and enjoyable to watch, that's at least what I can ask for. So yeah. Um, but really, that's all I've got to say on this episode. Because this was definitely just set up for what's about to happen. So tell me in the comments below what you thought of episode 28 of Digimon Adventure 2020. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.